Hey
everybody, Hugh Kellenberger here, Andy Graham. The kind of sort of floating head in the back is Dustin Dopirak. We are here in Champaign after Illinois defeated Indiana 43-13.
You can see Millennium Falcon.
We can see the Millennium Falcon, which we have determined makes Bloomington's Assembly Hall actually the Death Star.
We were getting philosophical here today.
Yeah. We are in a joking manner because, well, we can joke about these sort of things. I don't imagine there's a lot of joking going on the bus as the Indiana team heads back to Bloomington.
Rough day.
Bad day at the office, and the who would have thought, number one, that Indiana would outgain Illinois by 99 yards and lose by 30, and that Ben Chappell would look better running the ball than throwing the ball. It was just kind of a strange game.
It's a really strange game, and a game that I really feel like we're going to look back at the end of the season and say this is where we knew it was over.
I don't agree with that, frankly. I think the Northwestern game enters the context of must win, however. I think this game just went awry, as games sometimes do. In a strange sense, if Indiana fans want to grasp at straws, I mean, the defense once again continued a pattern of sort of gradual improvement. And this defense started the season with 7 new starters, and they look like they're kind of starting to settle in. Now they're going to look at an entirely different challenge next week because Purce's leading the league in passing efficiency. Is going to be a very different attack than what they saw today. But, if in fact, I think a lot of people always thought if that defense, or if that unit could approach adequacy, Indiana could be potentially a good team. Now there's kind of a different set of concerns, perhaps. I mean, Indiana's offense, when it's faced a upper tier Big Ten defense, has faltered both times now. Ohio State and here.
Yeah, I think today. I think a few things. Obviously, you're seeing more and more the effect of the loss of James Brewer, and I think it becomes bigger and bigger every week. Chappell obviously saw a good bit of pressure today. In some cases, he just forced things, and Ben just was not himself at all. Made some just really poor decisions. Made some just bad throws. Even in some cases, not even the ones that weren't picked off. And he just sailed passes over some people.
His first pass of the second half was right to a blue shirt. So,
he
got dropped, but
he did not play well at all today. But I mean, a big part of that. A significant part of that, maybe not the biggest part, is still the fact that the line has not corrected itself since Brewer's been gone. They don't have that one guy that you just know is a wall. Damish, I think, has been extremely admirable in what he's done, and especially just what he's going through. I can't fathom that. And also in the middle of all that, making a switch from guard to tackle, and it's not the same as having a 6'8", 331-pound wall over there. And that's kind of affected the whole offense, and it looks skittish right now, and it keeps looking worse. And also the fact that Willis isn't there, it's tough for them to get any kind of running game at all. I mean, they weren't really running the ball that well to begin with, but at least with Willis in the game, they got enough of one for it to be something to be concerned about. And just right now, things look sketchy with both of those guys gone. It's been a major issue, and you maybe don't see it when they're playing Arkansas State and Burgess can run for 102 yards against those guys. The same stuff isn't happening here against a pretty good Illinois defense.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the biggest thing is you have to wonder, okay, you scheduled 4 non-conference wins. That's great. But now they're 0-3 in the Big Ten. Michigan was a fight. It was a shootout. But Michigan hasn't done anything since. It's much like last year, a close loss that continues to look worse and worse by the week.
Yeah,
and they were completely outmanned by Ohio State, and they were outclassed by an Illinois team that, by all respects, Indiana and Illinois are really close in terms of tradition, in terms of, they're close in a lot of different respects, and Illinois was clearly the better team.
Well,
what the redshirt freshman
this game could have been closer if you don't.
It could have been closer, but they were
back.
But
no, absolutely not. Illinois still looked like the better team today. They're the more solid team.
Well, and Indiana's historically the worst team in the league. I mean, Illinois has had some clubs. Illinois, to be perfectly honest with you today, I've seen Illinois play better this year than they played today.
They didn't
impress me that much today. Indiana undermined itself more
Right.
than Illinois did anything.
Right.
I mean, Illinois gratefully accepted 26 gift points. That but that to me was more an indictment of Indiana than endorsement of Illinois today. I don't think Illinois outclassed Indiana. I think Indiana torpedoed itself. And I Illinois did a little of that last week when they made four turnovers up in Michigan State, where they were playing pretty competitively. All of a sudden, 4 turnovers, and it turns out to be 26-6.
Right.
And I think this game was kind of like that.
Well, you said earlier that things went awry, and things go awry sometimes. You're right. Things do go awry sometimes. Things go awry so much for Indiana that sometimes you just got to go, you know what, maybe it's you guys.
Yeah, well, but maybe it is. The thing that's interesting, I guess, about this is that different things have gone awry now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ben Chappell doubled his interception total today. He'd only
yeah.
thrown 3 all year,
Right.
Yeah.
and all of a sudden today he's thrown it to the other team pretty consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's the first time the script flipped. Basically,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
I think if you're an Indiana fan, if you're on the coaching staff, today is one of those days where you're just like, man, you don't want to say we can't catch a break, but I mean, obviously, for once, like after all they've talked about, doing better on assignment football on defense, tackling better on defense, you finally saw some of that come through today, and everything else.
Well, late in the game it was 29-12, and Indiana had given Illinois 2 touchdowns. The offense had, and the special teams had given them a block punt for a safety.
Right.
And you're thinking, geez, if the offense could just kind of get together. But then, even if they got a drive going, which they did a couple of times, they would go into the red zone and fail. I mean,
Right.
they it was...
Which
it
is
was,
where they missed James Brewer and Darius Willis.
Well,
Yes.
We've
We've talked about all a bunch of this stuff. I think one thing that I'm interested in kind of getting your guys' perspective on or whatever, but the play calling with this team is been interesting. I don't think I sometimes struggle to do this because there's a lot of things obviously that Canada's done well in terms of putting together an offense, but every once in a while there's a couple that just leave you scratching your head.
Andy's been around the program for a lot longer than I have. I've seen this program for 3 years. This is my 3rd year covering this team, and in 3 years I've heard consistent complaints about Matt Canada's play calling.
But I think fans when you don't win, fans complain about play calling almost anywhere. Although, but it was interesting what what Bill said today in the post-game press conference. He talked about the 2 failures when it was first and goal inside, and coming away with either field goal or nothing.
Right.
And he said, the first time, he said, I'm not sure Ben got, knocked.
He
dinged up or something. He said the second time we ran what we wanted to run and they just stopped us. The first time, he was at least, I think, indicating or implying that the plays that were run weren't necessarily the ones that they intended to run.
Right, and I will say that is that Indiana's goal line offense in the early season, when Ted Bolzer made his name, it was so much better. But Ben Chappell also had the time to check down to his 4th and 5th options, which were why Ted Bolzer had so many touchdown catches.
True. Right.
This game, they're coming right after him. He was having to make pre-snap reads, and Illinois was covering those guys that you make on a pre-snap read. He did not have time to watch Ted Bolzer run a route and then come across and get into the back of the end zone.
And there was one of the possessions, though, that was just like last week, where the first 2 downs were runs right up the gut. And Indiana, that's not playing to their strength. Obviously, I think a lot of people would think, why not give Ben 3 shots at it there? If you run and gain 2 yards and it's first to go from the 5 instead of the 7, what have you really
Right.
gained?
Well, remember when Ben was a sophomore and they would bring him in to run on short downs?
Yeah.
And he became the starting quarterback, and suddenly it was like, oh, we can't have Ben run the ball. That would be crazy. Except for
he ran the read option. How many times did they run? Where did that
I don't
come
know.
from?
Yeah, it worked a couple of times. The last time Illinois was not having it. All right, guys, we got about 40 seconds left. Indiana's now 4-3. Final record, Andy.
Well, it's still tough. I think now you're looking at 5-7 or 6-6 on the outside.
They find a way to get one. I don't know how they're gonna, which one it's gonna be or how they're gonna do it.
I think it's gonna be 4-8.
Losing out.
I think Purdue's gonna be 5-6. Indiana will be 4-7, the last game of the year, and Purdue will have something to play for and will play like it.
Yeah,
and it'll be 4-8, and who knows what will happen.
No.
So who else is Purdue going to get? Look at
Somebody.
their schedule.
Somebody.
Anyway, we got to go.
All right, bye.